The views on this program do not reflect those of ONTV or its board of directors. Welcome to Oaa Now, your home for Oakland Activities Association news and information. Here's your host, Sammy Terramina.
Welcome to Oaa Now. Here I'm Sammy Terramina, blogger of the Dragons Insider, blogger of the Sammy High School Sports Blog, and blogger of Inside the OAA, and one of the hosts tweet to me at Orion Television. Like to welcome our friends hearing us on a local voice, and we got cameras this week on TV.
Hey, you know, it's playoff selection week, right? So why
playoff
not?
Football. Why not get the cameras out?
Ray got the cameras.
Of course, you can hear us also on the local voice on SoundCloud as well. A lot to talk about this week, especially in football. The playoff from the MHA released the brackets yesterday.
Yep.
Want to get your thoughts on them, and also we're going to recap Week 9 results around the OAA, of course. But let's recap the Week 9s first to start off.
Yeah.
Before we talk playoff matchups.
Yep. Well, we had some predictions, and I think we were.
There were a couple games that were shocking.
There were shockers, but nothing really out of the ordinary.
Well, probably the game of the day had to be for week. There were a couple of them. Adams taking on Stony Creek.
Yeah.
That was a heck of a game.
See, that was the game of the week we wanted to see.
Stony
right?
Creek was up 14-7, and Adams came back. It was a hard-nosed, slug-out fest until 3 minutes ago in the game where Anthony Petrito caught a 56-yard catch from Carter Ferris, which resulted in a huge touchdown and a 21-14 win for Adams over Stony Creek. That was a game where Stony needed to win to at least secure themselves a playoff berth. I mean, they did not get it, unfortunately, but you know, brighter things are ahead for Stony Creek as we talk in the next segment. But talk about that game more in depth with Adams.
Yeah, well, going into it, we knew that both teams were hungry. It's a rivalry game.
Yeah.
Right? So, you know, records can be tossed out.
City championship on the line.
Yep, the same old cliches we've heard 1,000 times.
Mm-hmm.
I think we picked Stony Creek to take that one because they are the upstarts. We're really big fans of Stony Creek. And
Team Armor up.
Absolutely. And we weren't sure what we're going to get out of Adams.
They had that win against A&T, but
they did, but, you know, like, where are they, right? Because they just didn't look the same as we've seen in the early parts of the season. Well, they answered the bell, and Adams, the Highlanders, were there, and
they won 2 big games on the road.
Absolutely, and with that, they're playoff bound. In Stony Creek, with its fourth
loss,
so they're 5-4, correct? And we were talking about this. We saw Lake Orion a year ago, 5-4. Other teams 5-4. Will they get in?
You had hope with playoff
right?
points. You had a hope with playoff points.
Because, like we said, the OAA, I don't care if you're the red, white, or blue, tough teams all around.
There were a lot of tough teams around there. There were a lot of tough teams there. Another game that really shocked me was River Rouge and A&T. I was shocked how close this game was. River Rouge was up 24-3 at one point against A&T. And then A&T fought all the way back, made a 7-point game until very late when South A&T got the ball back. I don't know where Anthony Romp was throwing that ball on the screen pass that was ended up being picked off. So what ended up happening was River Rouge winning that game 31-24 at Southfield. A&T falls to 4-5. They're not making the playoffs for a third straight year. So now when you look at A&T now, this offseason there's going to be a ton of questions. And we know what A&T is going to have coming up, especially at quarterback with the arrival of Isaiah Marshall. He's going to be a freshman next year at A&T. But looking at this program, there has to be some changes with this program.
Yeah, it's at the beginning of the season, the hopes were high, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everything was positive. You're looking at, say, this team could do something pretty special this year. They could do,
a team
to be feared.
Look at the talent they had. They
knocked off Clarkston week 1.
Look at the talent they had. Anthony Romp, Christian Fitzpatrick, Aaron Folks. You have Cardia Harris. You have Bryce Austin, and this group of talent did not get the job done.
And, sometimes we've seen it before. Teams loaded with talent on paper or in reality, sometimes the cogs just don't mesh and something just doesn't fit. And it seems that that was the case this year.
And I forgot to mention Robert Army too. I mean, but when you look at that team, I mean, they're loaded on paper.
Yeah.
And I think this has to come an apology to the media, because the media hyped up A&T as well. When you look at Jared Purcell, a guy who really hyped them up before the season started.
Yeah.
But
I mean, we were looking at them going, hey, they could be pretty good.
they
right?
could be.
I mean,
wasn't buying into it. I mean, honestly, I really wasn't buying into that hype. I mean, because when you look at A&T's schedule, I mean, it was vicious. It was tough.
And that was acknowledged by the coach on media day.
It was acknowledged on media day. You know what I mean?
You're like, look at
that schedule.
Yeah.
And heck, even I've said it a couple times as well. I mean, so when you look at A&T, but
do you think it was more of the buzzsaw schedule that bit them?
I think it was more that hurt them.
Is it a 50-50?
But, the game that I thought really killed them was that loss to Clarkson. I think that was the one that really killed them.
The second one.
The second one where that personal foul by that A&T made, that ended up costing them, and it cost them big time.
Yeah.
If they would have went in at 6-3, it would have been better. It would have been better off.
Completely.
But instead, now they're 5-4. I mean, 4-5, and eliminated from postseason contention.
Yeah.
So,
do you think the loss to Clarkston, with the way Clarkston is in 2019, pretty much
that was pretty much that's what
put the nail in the coffin, as they say?
It put the nail in the coffin, but also the loss to Adams kind of really also hurt them too. But I think that loss to Clarkson really was the one that decided.
You had to have that one.
Another team that I was surprised with was Avondale. Had a new coach in Corey Bell. Had a lot of expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Senior heavy team, just did not live up to expectations. Ended up losing their fifth game, 63-31 to Seaholm. So
that's a lot of points.
When you look at Avondale, they lose a ton of experience, ton of talent. I mean, I did not see this coming with them not making the postseason. I was just surprised with, especially the loss to Ferndale that really cost them. Ferndale, same thing with their loss to Country Day, 40-0. Just two teams I thought would make some noise, but they really did not this season. And Avondale looked really good early on, but I think that loss to Detroit Renaissance kind of killed them. And then, of course, Ferndale with that rough start early, it kind of came back and hurt them. So, so both those teams very disappointing with not making the postseason.
And like you said, the hard part moving on for 2020 is you're losing a large senior class.
Especially at Avondale and also at Ferndale.
Ferndale's
losing a ton of talent too.
Yeah.
Probably another team that I was very disappointed with this year was Clarkston. It was going to be a down year for them. I knew when I looked at Clarkson's team on paper, the skill players were a big-time question mark for them.
Yeah.
But I did not expect a 3-6 season from the Wolves.
No, you say a down year for Clarkston is, 5 wins?
Yeah, 4, 5, 5-4.
Yeah, I mean, that's a down season. Or 6 wins.
Yeah. But not like this. 16-year playoff streak snapped.
Yeah.
Ton of questions now, especially what happened to them last week in their game against Detroit Cass Tech, where they were just blown out on their home field, 49-14.
And that was a late addition because they had both teams were minus the 9th game.
Yeah, and both those teams played. But I was just, when you look at Clarkston next year, they should be better on paper.
Mm-hmm.
That's depending if everybody comes back. But a lot of questions with this Clarkson team. There was some bright spots,
Yes,
Ethan Clark,
the freshman running back.
Ethan Clark. And then you have a good quarterback, and Mike DePillo is going to get better and better as a junior next year. And then, of course, you still have Spindler and Dillinger. You have Rocco Spindler, Garrett Dillinger. I mean, you still have those guys coming back. I mean, Clarkson should be okay heading into next year.
Yeah, and those guys will be healthy, right? I mean,
and that's the thing.
We've heard a lot. We heard late in the season that there were
4 ACL injuries.
Yeah, which is wild. Maybe 1 a season you hear, but 4. Wow, that is brutal. How do you? I mean, any team that is hit with players that are on the field, for the starting lineups, either defense, offense, you got 4 out with ACL injuries. That's tough, and the comeback to that takes a long time.
It does. It really does.
But do you think this is a blip? This is an anomaly?
I think it's kind of a blip, an anomaly. And I also think it's the same thing for Oxford, too. They went 1-8 this year.
That to me was one of the shockers.
But they do lose Drew Carpenter, very good quarterback. That they do have a lot coming back. So when you look at Oxford, the cupboard's far from bare over there at Oxford.
Yeah. Young team, right?
Young team this year. Came off a 35-7 loss to Oak Park. Let's look at other scores around the league as well.
Yeah.
Lake Orion, no problem. Monroe, 45-27, of course. Mostly of 27 points. Mostly allowed by the Lake Orion backups.
Yep. Late in the fourth.
Yeah, and they're in the fourth and late in the third as well. So
but they handled their business. Pretty easy.
Yep, they're in the postseason, riding at 8-1. Ann Arbor Gabriel Richard knocked off Pontiac 58-6.
Yes.
Gabriel Richard and her father Gabriel Richard is in the playoffs now. I think they're in Division 6. They're in at 5-4. We talked Seaholm already, Avondale. But this was a head scratcher for me. Brownstown Woodhaven 49, Groves 28. This was a head scratcher.
That is surprising.
Here's why it's surprising. Groves' defense is very good.
Yeah.
Very good. And the fact that Brownstown Woodhaven, yes, they got a very good running back, a very good line over there, but for Groves, they give up 49 points.
Yeah. When you told me that was a stunner.
Yeah, that says a lot.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. When I looked at the score, I'm going like, what? What the heck happened to Groves?
Yeah.
What happened to this team? Where was his defense?
Yeah.
I mean.
And to end the regular season that way,
yeah.
Do they call into question what's happening next? Because I thought they were rolling.
They were rolling coming in. They were rolling. Stony Creek game, I thought, tested them.
Yeah.
But to me, it looks like Groves has got a huge problem against teams that like to run the football. It showed with Cameron Buford at Stony Creek.
Okay. And
it showed in this game with Brownstown Woodhaven. Brownstown Woodhaven's undefeated for the first time, I believe, since I think it's 2014 since they were undefeated.
Wow.
But now they're in Division 1. Groves reeling in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we knew it was going to be a good game.
It was going to be a good game.
It's no slouch, but
Groves ended up turning the ball over a couple times too, which didn't help things either.
Yeah.
So
even a good team, you turn the ball over, it can really bite you.
It could come back and bite you.
Oh, absolutely.
Other scores: Flint Kearsley 56, Royal Oak 21.
Not surprised.
And I'm not surprised either. Royal Oak battled a lot of injuries, ton of adversity.
A lot of high-scoring games. I mean, or a lot of blowouts.
A lot
of defensive lapses or
Mm-hmm.
Offensive efficiency on the other teams. I don't know.
And then you have Notre Dame Prep 38, Troy Athens nothing.
Well,
tough way to go out for Billy Keenis and his team, but
yeah.
Keenis' team finished 3-6 this year. A 2-win improvement from last year.
Hey, you take it.
You got to take it. You know?
Any improvement's good.
You're developing that program over there. I mean,
Correct.
like, it's a really interesting what's going on at Troy Athens.
Yep.
They'll be a good team to watch. Bloomfield Hills 35, Rochester 14. Bloomfield Hills won 2 straight. Bloomfield Hills after a long year in the red.
Yes.
Just happy to get out of red competition and took care of their business against.
Yeah, and finished strong at the end. I mean, two wins to close it out. That's got to be a positive.
Rochester on the other side, of course.
Oh boy.
They're gonna have.
I thought that game would be a little closer than that.
Yeah, I thought that too, but I think the injuries kind of really did them in.
Yeah, especially to their starting quarterback.
Rochester's got a junior-heavy team. They should be better next year.
Mm-hmm.
We already talked Birmingham, Detroit, Country Day, Ferndale. Berkeley beat Troy 27-14.
Hey!
Good win for Sean Shields, but for Troy to score
14 games in a row.
Points. They have scored in their last 2 games. They have scored 47 points. That's not bad.
That is, what do we say? Progress, right?
That's progress.
Positive. You're competitive with the teams that are around your level, or maybe they played up a little bit, right?
I think
that made a game.
That's a positive hanging next season for Troy.
Correct.
Because, you scored that many points. I mean, after 7 straight weeks of not scoring a point.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I mean, we'll see with Troy.
We'll take any positive we can get for those Colts. I mean, we were rooting for them. Just get on the board. Show some positive signs.
And they got on the board.
And they got on the board.
They got on the board.
Yeah.
And then our last game to recap is North Farmington 46, Ypsilanti Lincoln 22.
Yeah.
North Farmington undefeated, 9-0 for the first time since 1978.
Wow.
You know, it's been a long time for that program.
78. Boy, I was, should I tell you? 6 years old?
The only thing I don't like with North Farmington is those white helmets. They just got to get rid of those.
Sammy.
They just got to get rid of those helmets.
I don't. Hey, you got them undefeated.
Yeah, 9-0 for the first time since
White helmets.
1978.
Undefeated with white helmets. They're not going to get rid of them until they lose.
Yeah. Now we can go to the nitty-gritty, which is the intro of the state playoffs.
Yeah, man. Is there anything more exciting? I mean, for high school football, than you got the presentation. I love the way they do it. You got a selection Sunday show. You got kids gather around as a team to get together to watch, see where they're going.
Various different places,
yeah,
too.
How fun is that?
It is fun. I mean, it's a really good experience.
Yeah.
Of course, now you have and see if your name gets called.
Yeah. Something crossing your fingers, especially those 5 and 4 bubble teams.
Well, this year there was 54 5 and 4 teams this year.
Whoa.
50 or 4 and 4 teams there. 54 of them in the entire state. Now, there are 9 OA schools represented.
Okay.
In the playoffs. Couple teams. I mean, like we had one team get in at 5 and 4. But some really interesting districts. We're gonna focus on divisions 1 and 2 because those are the districts where the OA, or the division where the OA teams are at.
Okay.
Let's go to Division 2 first.
Before you announce them all, any surprises, any shockers? You go, well, this is about how we thought it would lay out.
Well, you know, I was surprised with some of the locations of the seedings where teams were located at.
But team-wise,
I was not surprised.
Okay.
I mean, because I figured everything out by Saturday. It was basically all done by Saturday night.
That's true.
Everything was put into place, and then I just shocked at
but
where some of the locations
you're a junkie on this sort of thing.
Well, this is one of my expertises. This is where one of my expertise is at.
That's true.
But let's go with Division 2.
Yeah.
I wasn't surprised at Region 1 district in Region 1. I really wasn't surprised with Midland Dow taking on Traverse City West Central, Muskegon Mona Shores taking on Midland. Was surprised Midland got blown out by Dow, 45 to 42-7 the other night at Midland Community Stadium. I was really surprised.
Those are always good matchups between those two teams.
Oh yeah, Midland Dow usually is. The Battle of Portage. You got Portage Central takes on Portage Northern. That's a very interesting matchup there. Matawan taking on Grand Rapids Forest Hill Central. Then you have Jackson, 5 and 3, taking on Battle Creek Lakeview.
A 5 and 3 gets in.
Yeah, 5 and 3 Jackson. Livonia Churchill goes to your stopping grounds, Dexter.
The Dreadnoughts.
I'll
tell you.
And why I don't like that matchup for Dexter.
It's a toughie.
It's a toughie.
Yeah.
Real toughie.
It's even shocking that they're in. I know they're much better than they were back in the day, but oh boy, were we doormats.
Yes.
It was bad.
You got Flushing taking
Dreadnoughts.
on Wall Lake Western. Looks like a mismatch on paper. South Line at Fenton. I mean, that one's going to be a really interesting game. South Line veteran team taking on a Fenton team that's won the Flint Metro League title.
Okay.
And then we're gonna break down the OA schools in their districts. You got Detroit University, Detroit Jesuit taking on North Farmington. Farmington taking on Oak Park. Then the other side, you have Temperance Bedford taking on Detroit Martin Luther King, and Wyandotte Roosevelt taking on Livonia Franklin. And then you have Warren de La Salle versus Groves, Sterling Heights versus Seaholm. And then you have Port Huron versus Port Huron Northern, and Macomb Lance Cruz taking on St. Clair Shores Lakeview. That's your Division 2 matchups.
Wow.
Let's break down the OA schools matchups.
Yeah.
We're gonna go with North Farmington first. They are taking on UD Jesuit. The Cubs are coming off a they were in the Catholic League final. They beat Dearborn Devon Child pretty convincingly in the Catholic League in the Catholic League final. Now they get to take on North Farmington, who is 9-0, first time since 1978. When you look at this matchup here, I mean, like, UD Jesuits they play in a tough division, the Catholic League. And then you look at North Farmington, OA Blue champs. I was very concerned about North Farmington's non-conference. I mean, like, their league schedule, how everything would pan out. Now this is going to probably be their toughest opponent that they have seen all year. So when you look at North Farmington, yes, you do have a coaching advantage in this matchup because you remember North Farmington has the former Harrison coaches there. You have John Hersing there, John
seasoned
Harrington.
Veterans.
But the thing I'm concerned about is the player's mindset. And, of course, you do have a couple Harrison transfers in there. But I'm just concerned about the North Farmington players that were in there. They just have not they have not felt this experience of having playoff football. So what are your thoughts looking at this matchup?
It's going to be a tough game. And, one thing about North Farmington is, like, this is almost their first time ever, right? I mean, regardless if you have the blended team or whatever of experience, you have some kids that are playoff ready. It seems they've blended. They've come together as a team. They're playing hard, and the whole old rivalries, I think, pretty much have been pushed to the side. So moving forward, it really is. It's almost its own brand new shiny toy, right? So it's. As far as we get to the playoffs in the first game, it's going to be a tough one. I think they'll be ready.
Don't give me a projection yet. But.
Well, I'm not, but I'm just saying that. But the matchup it's an interesting one, but they better be ready.
They better be ready because UD Jesuits played a really tough schedule.
Yes.
And the Cubs are not a bad team either.
No, and this goes back to what you've been preaching for years. It's like, sure, you can take care of your business in league. But what are you doing outside, and who are you playing?
I mean, North Farmington played Waterford Kettering. They played Okemos, and Ypsilanti Lincoln. Of course, they won all three of those games. But those three teams are nothing compared to what the Cubs are going to be.
That is correct.
And I think this is going to be a really tough task for North Farmington. But thankfully for them, they have that coaching staff there, and they've been through it. They've been through the wars. They've been in Division II, Division III, Division IV.
Everything.
I mean, they've been through everything. And, of course, got a couple Harrison players on that team that have been through everything as well. So, they're in okay. I think they're in better shape right now for this matchup with UAD Jesuit. But we'll see. And the other side of that matchup, you got Farmington basically got sentenced, taking on Oak Park. When you look at this matchup,
one loss, right?
Farmington comes in at 7-1. Oak Park comes in at 8-1. So when you look at,
so do you think that vacated ninth?
I think that vacated ninth game hurt them. It hurt them because you look at if you would have played a ninth game, if you would have played, I don't know, if you would have played a team like Clarkston, you know what I mean? You would have. You could have, maybe, it could have gave you better graces with the MHA, but not playing an 8-night game hurts.
Yeah.
It hurt North Farmington. And no, it hurt Farmington. But when you look at, and then the fact that they got to go play Oak Park, where you're thinking, okay, you have one loss, you're thinking you might get a home game out of this.
Yeah.
But now you got to go to Night Valley, play at a 6 o'clock game on a Friday night. I mean, and Oak Park is loaded everywhere with talent, considering you got Frank Black at quarterback. You have a freakish athlete in Malik Carr. You have Enzo Jennings. You have a big line led by Raekwon Benny. My God.
These guys are primed to go. They're ready.
And Oak Park could be one of those favorites in Division II.
Yes.
They could win it all. The bracket looks very favorable for Oak Park. So when you look at that district, on paper, you gotta give an edge to Oak Park, experience, battle testing. This is a great draw if you're Coach Greg Carter.
Yeah, they got to be smiling.
Oak Park's been riding with confidence ever since that week 1 loss to West Bloomfield.
Absolutely.
And you look at Oak Park, they've been riding through cylinders. They have been tested though. Groves gave them a test, and then Stony Creek gave them a test as well. Yeah. So those are two teams that have each been given tests, with Oak Park. So Oak Park looks to be battle tested.
That could be a motivator too for Farmington, don't you think?
Why would you say that?
Because you go, hey, we've handled our business. We played well. We're 7-1. Disrespect card, right? Don't you think?
They got a lot of experience.
There's different ways you can spin it depending on which team you're on.
Well, they got a lot of experience,
Yeah.
of course.
That's
and
true.
of course, let's not forget this team had a regional final appearance last year.
Yeah, see,
So there was a ton of playoff experience, but going up from Division 4, from Division 3 to Division 2 is kind of a really tough task.
Yeah.
With this Farmington team. So
That's
I
true.
think it's going to be a tough task for them. Before we do projections, let's focus on the other match we're going to break down. We got Sterling Heights. The Sterling Heights Stallions back in the postseason, taking on Seaholm in Birmingham. For Seaholm, getting in the playoffs, they put 63 up on Avondale. When you look at this matchup, Sterling Heights is battle tested, but when I look at the matchup on paper, I'm not sure if the MAC, I believe they are in the MAC Gold, I believe.
No idea.
It's going to be a tough task for Sterling Heights having to make travel west to Birmingham to take on Seaholm. Seaholm right now playing at a different level right now. When you look at ever since their tough loss to Groves, what they have really.
It hasn't affected them.
Hasn't really affected them, and the fact that they're in the postseason, really huge accomplishment for Coach Jim DeWall. Of course, I didn't expect this to happen, but Seaholm right now rolling on all cylinders.
Yeah, that's a team that I'm got my eyeball on just to see what happens. You say surprise or whatever. You go, I like surprises. It makes everything interesting.
And then you have a match with Sterling Heights, of course. These are two teams not real familiar with each other. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens there. And
in a way, that could bode well, right?
That could bode well,
because they don't know you.
You don't know them.
And, time to open up the playbook and see what happens.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see what happens there. We got now Warren de La Salle taking on Groves. If you're Groves, you just gave up 49 points at Brownstown Woodhaven. That's the most you've given up all season long. And now you got to go play a 5-4 Warren de La Salle team. This is a brutal matchup for Groves when you look at it.
Yeah.
Really brutal. Warren de La Salle's been battle tested. They lost 16-8 to West Bloomfield in a really good game last week.
That's a tight game. That's the one we were looking at going, ooh, this should be interesting.
Yeah, it was a really good game with West Bloomfield and de La Salle. Really good game.
Keeping the Lakers down on the scoring side of things, that they better come to play.
Yeah.
Because points might be tough to come by.
Oh, yeah. When you look at this game with Warren de La Salle, they're stout defensively. Groves, we thought were stout defensively till last week.
Yeah. Maybe it's a one-off,
Maybe.
Two strong defensive teams statistically.
Well, here's the thing with Groves. Here's the thing. They were exposed. Good running backs have given them a problem. Stony Creek's got two very good running backs in Zach Denna and Cameron Buford. And then Wyandotte Road and Brownstown Woodhaven had a really good running back themselves. We had 3 touchdowns last week against Groves' defense. And Warren de La Salle's got a very good running back as well. So when you look at Groves, they have to really focus on stopping the run.
Yeah.
Warren de La Salle's also got a very good quarterback as well. So I think Groves is going to be in for they're going to have a ton of problems in this game, Warren de La Salle. Now, Groves, we know with Ralph Donaldson, Marcus Alexander, Kobe Taylor, we know what they have.
Yeah.
And for Groves, this is like, I know you've been to state semifinals 3 of the last 5 years. But this is the MHA basically is sentenced Groves.
Yeah.
They basically did by giving them the 2-time defending state champion in Division II, Warren de La Salle.
Yeah, that's a stick in the eye, as they call it.
It's a tough matchup for Groves. Even though that game's in Beverly Hills, Warren de La Salle's got something to prove. They do.
Well, yeah, and you're saying that, with their extensive playoff experience, nothing's really going to rattle this team.
No.
You know, I mean, they've been through it. So it's just, another first-round game. They go in relaxed and do what they do.
But if they
got to watch out.
But I think if there's a team that's in danger right now, danger territory, it's Groves.
Yeah.
This is a team that I've got big-time concerns with with Groves right now. I really do got big-time concerns with them. Now let's go from Division 2 to Division 1. We got all the matchups. We'll break down the OA matchups.
Yeah.
We got Grand Haven taking on Granville.
Ooh.
Hudsonville at Traverse City West. Traverse City Stadium's got 3 home games now. The Traverse City Community Stadium, because they have
share.
There's 3 teams that share with them: Traverse City Central, Traverse City West, and Traverse City St. Francis.
Wow.
So somebody's playing. So you got somebody playing Friday night, somebody playing on Saturday at 1, and the other one's playing Saturday night. So I don't know who it's going to be yet.
That's a busy facility.
Oh yeah. I mean, also East China Stadium and East China Township.
Yeah. They share?
Yeah, they share. Marine City and St. Clair share the same stadium. Both teams are in the playoffs there. You also got in Macomb County, you got Utica Eisenhower share Swinehart, Sterling Heights Stevenson, and Utica Ford share Runklefield. So let's get back to playoff matchups. East Kentwood is at Rockford.
Thoughts?
And then you got Brighton at Lansing Holt.
Ooh.
Interesting matchup there. Plymouth Canton at West Bloomfield. We're going to break that one down. That winner is going to get Walled Lake Western or Plymouth.
Ooh, boy.
Then here comes a tough regional here. Region 2, District 2 of Division 1. Ann Arbor Pioneer comes in at 5-4. Got to head to Brownstown to take on Brownstown Woodhaven. And then here's the toughest matchup. Saline at Belleville.
First round game.
Wow. That's going to be nuts.
Yes.
That's going to be nuts. And then you have...
That's a crazy first round game.
It is. Then you have Grand Blanc at Lapeer, Davison at Romeo.
Ooh.
That one's interesting.
Yeah.
I know there's been a lot of people complaining to me about why Lake Orion wasn't here. I'll tell you why they weren't in a minute. Speaking of Lake Orion, they got Stony Creek.
Yeah, Stony Creek.
And then making the playoffs first time since 2013.
Yeah,
4th overall.
At 5-4.
At 5-4. They have Adams taking on Eisenhower at Swinehart. Then you have Macomb Dakota at Chippewa Valley. Warren Mott at Sterling Heights Stevenson. Then Detroit Western at Dearborn Fortson. And Detroit Cass Tech at Grosse Pointe South. So people will be asking me about why Lake Orion and Romeo switched. And there were a couple reasons. One, I did a little map, drawing where Lapeer, Davis, and Grand Blanc was.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there was like kind of that little area between Leonard, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where I believe that's where the MHA went with. And Romeo was right there. Even they moved high schools.
That's right. They're on the outside of town.
Yeah, they're on the outside of
town. They're not down in the village any longer.
Not any longer. So they did that. And
strictly geography?
Not strictly geography. And also playoff points played a role too.
Romeo, well, it should. That's the whole point.
Romeo had 87.
Okay.
Lake Orion had 97. So it would have been really interesting if Romeo would have been in the district with Adams, Stony Creek, and Utica Eisenhower, whereas Lake Orion had 97, and put him with Davis and Lapeer, Grand Blanc. Geographically, it would have been closer.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, I think it works out because to send Romeo north, and I think it was solely because of playoff points. That's the reason why Romeo's up north.
But shouldn't that be the case?
That is the case.
Right? I mean, if you're going to be, I'm going to throw up the quotes, fair.
I mean, there's like a 9-0 Almont team taking on Richmond who's 8-1, and that's at Richmond because Richmond's got more playoff points than Almont.
Yeah.
So when you look at how the MHA does their seeding, they base it off your playoff points, not your overall record.
Yeah.
So that's what I noticed.
And I can't see another way of doing it.
No.
Because like you said.
And next year, everything changes.
That's true.
Because the 6-win component don't matter.
Yeah. So it's just going to be points exclusively?
It's going to be based on your strength of schedule, yes.
Okay. So how do they determine strength of schedule? Not to get off topic.
Well, That's a question.
Maybe that's a postseason.
That's a postseason question.
Yeah, after the state finals, we'll
get back to that. We'll get back.
I could see that being a couple-week discussion.
Oh yeah,
among other things.
Now let's look at the Division I matchups. First, let's look at West Bloomfield. They take on Plymouth Canton in the first round.
Yeah.
You and I talked about Canton.
Correct.
Canton, they could surprise some people.
Yes, they can.
Even though their former coach retired from Canton, but they still, you can't underestimate Plymouth Canton. You really can't.
I mean, the amount of kids they can draw on over there is massive.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just one of those programs that just are always there.
And they're in a very interesting district because you have the 3 Plymouth schools that are there.
Yeah.
Plymouth Canton, Plymouth Salem all share the same field there.
Yes.
All share the same field.
Yeah, they share the same campus.
Same campus. They share the same campus. So when you look at it, this is a very interesting matchup, to say the least. And the other side,
the Lakers have to be ready.
They better be ready. I'm telling you right now, and I know Coach Ron Bellamy.
Mm-hmm.
You know Coach Ron Bellamy. He will have his troops ready. He'll be ready.
Yeah, they're seasoned as well. We talk about these other teams like Farmington and some others. They've been to the playoffs. They've done this sort of thing. They have as well. At a high level.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to be ready.
They're going to be ready.
Correct. And they can play pretty much any style.
Right.
We've seen them.
High scoring,
low scoring defense. Yes, they ball control if they want to, right? It's just a really well-balanced team.
How much of having Donovan Edwards back helps this team? It helps a ton.
Helps, yeah.
It helps a ton because last year he was hurt with an ankle injury.
Yep.
And now you have a more experienced team. They could make a run at this thing.
Absolutely.
But that regional is brutal.
It is.
Especially when you have to look at, on the other side, you got Saline, Belleville, and Brownstown, Woodhaven all in one district.
Who wants? What's the combined records of all those teams? It is high.
It is high.
The wins, a lot of wins on that side.
Oh my goodness! Between those 3
and
teams,
quality wins, Sam.
Yeah, between those 3 teams,
quality wins.
Between those 3 teams, 26-1.
Yeah, and not just some cupcake fluff.
No, they've beaten some good teams.
There's tough teams down in there.
There's tough teams down there. So West Bloomfield's going to have their hands full.
Yeah.
The other side, you have you have White Lake, Lakeland, and Plymouth in there. That's not going to be easy.
No.
Now let's look at Rochester Adams, Utica Eisenhower at Swinehart.
Ooh.
This is a 2017 rematch where Adams lost 10-6 on they gave up a 35-yard pass touchdown with about 15 seconds left to go in that game. And I know a lot of Adams fans are sick to that stomach of that game. So when you look at this game, Utica Eisenhower reminds me a lot of Romeo. Scrappy, physical, defense first type of team. Their defense is real nasty. We've known that for a long time.
Forever.
And
they
their
definitely
offense is not bad.
have an identity, right? And you know what you're going to get.
Yeah. And of course, Utica Eisenhower's got big wins against Romeo. There are 2 losses this year to Chippewa Valley and Birmingham Brother Rice. They also have wins against Macomb, Dakota as well. So when you look at Utica Eisenhower, this is going to be a tough matchup for Rochester Adams when you really look at having to go down there to Swinehart Field. So when you look at, but the Veer offense could give anybody problems.
We've talked about it since day one.
The Veer.
It's so odd and different that if you are not ready and tackle anything that's moving, you're going to be in trouble. We sound like a broken record on it, but it's the truth. When you see it in person, in the stands, it's one thing, but seeing it ground level, it's completely different. Because there's so many things happening. And it's crazy.
Yeah, very crazy, especially its own read, the Veer.
Yeah, but if you have a team that has a very disciplined defensive front, you could run into problems.
Yeah.
So it can go either way.
The Veer brings a ton of problems for you. I think Utica Eisenhower could have some problems defensively in this game with Adams. I really do. But on the flip side, I think the key in that game is Carter Ferris. If Ferris has not had a great season, but I think he could do more for that team because truly when you look at the heart and soul of Adams' team right now, it's Anthony Petrito.
He's their offense.
Everything's been flowed around Anthony Petrito.
It goes through him.
It goes through him.
If he stays healthy, I mean, I saw it firsthand. The guy is tougher than nails. The hits he takes, the pounding, just the volume. If I would like to see the percentage of plays called on the offensive side of the ball for him. How many times has his number been called?
Well, let's not forget, Adams does have other weapons,
They
too.
do. There's other weapons.
Logan Syree is a good defensive player. You got Parker Pico, the freshman, a wide receiver.
We've talked about those guys. He said, but the offense runs through Petrino.
Yep, that's what the offense does over there. So I think it's gonna be a tough task for Adams going down there to Utica Eisenhower and Swinehart Field because we know.
Yeah. And
that's that. And Swinehart Field, by the way, is not on Utica Eisenhower's campus. It's on Utica's campus. So, so Adams gonna have to make that trip to Utica High School.
Yeah, and the fans will show.
Yeah.
They'll go.
The Gold Rush, I got a lot of confidence in them.
They'll show up.
And then, of course, you got Stony Creek taking on Lake Orion.
Yeah.
First, Stony Creek. I am so happy for this team.
Me too.
For them. I mean, I saw the Twitter post that they were cheering like crazy to hear their name called.
Yeah.
I was really happy for Coach Nick Merlo
for
what he has done in the 2 years there at Stony Creek. He has put a program there. I mean, Stony Creek football is coming back with the vengeance right now. And the fact that they're in the playoffs this year, it's a huge credit to not only the players there, the Armor Up culture that Merlo has installed there. I watch the Stony Creek podcasts they have their own podcast where they have maybe an 8-minute, 10-minute segment where they talk about elite men of character. You know what I mean? They do a very good job on it. I watch that on Twitter.
We gotta see if we can incorporate if there's any other teams out there doing that sort of thing. Incorporate some of the talking points in the show.
Yeah, I'm
we
hoping.
can dig it up, that'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, if you go on Stony Creek Football's Twitter page, they have if you go on there, they have a podcast,
awesome.
An 8 to 10 minute segment. I know the Mac Red has their own podcast. It's called Zach and Zach's podcast. I listen to that, especially if I get my information on the Macomb Area Red Conference. I listen to that. But when you look at Stony Creek, this is a team, when you look at the players they have, Zach Denna, Cameron Buford, their line is very good, led by Austin Jordan. They got a big offensive line. You got a quarterback in Ryan Eckhout. It's going to get better and better.
Yeah.
But when you look at the matchup on paper, taking on Lake Orion, it's a brutal matchup for Stony Creek.
It is. I mean, we've been cheering on these guys, Stony Creek, all year, right? And
for them to get in the playoffs,
this is
huge.
It's great.
This
at
is
5-4, and it goes back again. Getting in at 5-4, it goes back again to their scheduling and who they've played and how they've played. Right?
They've been very competitive.
They're not,
especially in their losses.
Absolutely. That's what I'm getting at. It's like you look at the losses, very tight, very competitive, all across the board all season. This isn't blowout here, blowout there, fluky win here. This is a solid core football.
And they lost to 4 playoff teams.
Yes.
4. I mean,
and that's why they got in.
That's why, and that's why
played them tough.
And they played them tough. I mean, they lost to Groves tough, lost to Oak Park tough. Heartbreak to Adams, and then they lost to Seaholm in a really close game.
Yeah.
So
when you look at Lake Orion hosting the game, first time in a while.
It's been the first time, I believe, since 2013.
Yeah. So, and they potentially could host multiple home games if
that's pending.
It's pending, but I mean, what are the motivations for these teams besides obviously going on? Stony Creek's in. Are they just happy to be in? I don't think so. I think they want to prove that they're for real. And the Dragons,
I think that's a tough matchup for Stony
It
Creek.
is a tough matchup, but the Dragons, They've been rolling lately. Could we say that? Is that I mean, they have been rolling.
They've been rolling.
The defense is legit. We talked about it all season. The offense is putting up points in multiple ways, and big strike plays and long runs.
The matchup I'm going to be watching in that game is offensive coordinator Brad Fisher going against defensive coordinator Gary Griffith. Yeah. Gary Griffith, we remember, coached at Troy. He was a longtime head coach at Troy, and of course, a former assistant at Hazel Park. Okay. Now he's the defensive coordinator at Stony Creek, and this is Stony Creek's defense has been very, very good lately.
Yes,
they have been very legit.
Yes, it really. I'm excited about the matchup. It's a game that you're going, yeah, this is going to be a good one.
It'll be a good one.
I don't see. I know we're not picking. Are we picking yet?
We're
at 45 minutes.
We're going to be picking soon.
Okay, because I'm just chomping at the bit. Okay, but way to go, Stony Creek. Congratulations.
But if you're Stony Creek, you know what I mean? You had to sweat it out for basically 2 days since you lost that Adams game. And now you realize you're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And you look at everybody. I looked at Snooze Hughes' map, and he had Stony Creek basically playing Romeo. I listened to that Zach and Zach podcast, the Mac Red. They were not high on Stony Creek getting in the playoffs. Well, now they're dead wrong. Stony Creek's in the playoffs now.
If you're not watching them weekly
mm-hmm.
and know the teams that are around them that, hey, whoever they've beaten or lost
mm-hmm.
to, I
don't think they had a clue what Stony Creek was.
They're looking at schedules and
I don't think
not
they
schedules,
had
but they're
a
just
clue.
looking at the final record.
I don't think they had a clue what Stony Creek football was, but I'm telling you right now, Stony Creek, I'm really, really happy.
Yeah.
Do not sleep on them. If you're Lake Orion now, if you're Lake Orion, it's a more favorable draw for you
Absolutely.
to take on Stony Creek than having to go play Davison or Lapeer.
Absolutely.
And then especially because if you're in Romeo's shoes, you got to have Davison. Davison's a tough matchup for you. And then if you win that one, you're looking at possibly going to Lapeer. So if you're Lake Orion, having 2 home games possibly could be, it's huge.
Huge motivator.
It's a huge motivator.
And the place is going to be hopping. This community's behind this team.
You got the Lake Orion student section. You got the core. You got the Cougar core there also on them Friday night. It's going to be really.
It's going to be hopping. It's going to be hopping.
It'll be hopping.
ONTV cameras will be there, of course.
Mm-hmm. And it's a playoff game.
Playoff game live on MHSA or probably MHSA.tv.
Mm-hmm. Now we're going to get back to what you've been calling for, the projections. Let's go to Division II first. Let's go with our first matchup. It is University of Detroit Jesuit at North Farmington. When you look at this matchup on paper, North Farmington has the number 1 seed, 9-0. Very concerned about that they have not been battle tested yet. When you look at the Raiders, this comes the test for North Farmington.
Yeah.
This is the test. Taking on UD Jesuit, who's been tested, won the Catholic League Middle Division. So what is your thoughts, your early thoughts?
See, this is one of those, I don't know. I would like, I'm really excited for North Farmington. We're talking history, right? They're making history. Why not continue? Am I making my pick based on statistical analysis, or am I just more of emotion? I'm going on emotion. I'm going to say North Farmington. Why not? Why not?
Got North.
Yes.
I got North Farmington as well winning this game. I really think coaching matchup is going to be very important. I think that I've got a lot of confidence in John Hursting, their head coach there, taking on a very good UD Jesuit team. Their offensive line is huge, but with that coaching staff there, I think it's going to be the difference maker there. I really think North Farmington. And watch for John Brunette in that game. I think John Brunette's going to have a big game in that one against UD Jesuit. He didn't run the ball much all season long until that Farmington game where he had that 75-yard touchdown run against them. So I like North Farmington in that game against UD Jesuit to move on, I think, because of that.
Okay.
And then the other side, you got Farmington taking on Oak Park. And if you're Corey Soroch and the Falcon players, this is basically, you just got punished, basically, for not playing a Week 9 by going to Oak Park.
It certainly feels like it.
It certainly does.
Yeah. I'd say Oak Park.
Oak Park blowout or Oak Park close?
2 scores. I'm not saying blowout. I say there's going to be a chance but I'd say 2 scores.
I'm going to take Oak Park because when you look at the Knights, they've been cruising since the West Bloomfield game. The West Bloomfield loss, but they did not look good against Stony Creek. Were tested by Groves. I just think,
big upset.
If they better be careful. If that were to happen,
that opens that whole bracket up.
The whole bracket up. I mean, it would really open things
crazy.
up if Oak Park gets upset. But end of the day, I'm going to take Oak Park, and I think the Knights, too much talent. They're going to find a way to make Max Martin's life a living, you know what?
Yeah.
And then I think at the end of the day, it's going to be Oak Park. It's going to roll in Night Valley. Farmington will compete, but it's going to be a tough task.
Just clock count about 9 minutes.
Okay. Then we got Sterling Heights taking on Seaholm. That's a interesting matchup there.
Yeah, maybe I'm a homer.
You got Seaholm?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going Seaholm too. I think too much experience there. Warren De La Salle taking on Groves. Does Groves have a chance in this one?
I would say with their defense, at least what we've seen up until
Brownstown Woodhaven
last week, I would say yes. I think they bounce back. They have a chance. Perhaps they go down.
You think they're going to lose?
It's going to be close.
You think they're going to lose De La Salle?
Yes, I think it's going to be close.
You know, I'm going to go Warren De La Salle too. I really think that. I think that loss to Brownstown Woodhaven kind of exposed things for Groves. But we'll see. Yeah. I mean, if they do pull
it off. Who knows?
Off
Maybe it was just an anomaly. They knew they were in. They played a lot of new guys. Who knows?
Well, who knows? I mean,
that's a lot of points.
But whoever wins that district is going to have a very nice regional hang in the state semifinal. So I'm going to take De La Salle. It's going to be a tough matchup for Groves. But it wouldn't surprise me if they do pull it off.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's go to Division 1 now. We got Plymouth Canton at West Bloomfield. West Bloomfield, beware in this one.
Beware, but I think the Lakers win.
I think the Lakers do win as well. When I look at the Lakers, too much talent.
I think they do it comfortably.
Yeah, I think it's going to be comfortable. I think it's going to be a blowout. I think West Bloomfield will be getting ready for Plymouth next week.
Yeah.
I think Plymouth will get by Lakeland, but I like West Bloomfield in that matchup. And then let's look at Rochester Adams, Utica Eisenhower. This is a basic toss-up game.
Yeah, it's a classic one.
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to get? Who knows?
Does Adams get revenge at Swinehart?
Why not?
You going Adams? You're going Adams at Swinehart.
If they can, why not? I'm stepping out on that limb. I know it's very thin and the leaves are off of it, and it's not the most healthy limb. But I'm a homer today.
I'm gonna go like. Reason why is because I think that their defense is legit. Their quarterback's not bad. They got a senior quarterback there. Proven team there. It's at Swinehart. It's gonna be a tough task for Adams. I'm gonna take Ike over Rochester Adams. And then our last game we're projecting is Stony Creek at Lake Orion. Do you think the Cougars have enough to upset the Dragons?
Any team can upset anybody. I don't care who you are, unless we're talking some of the teams that are really, really struggling. But a team that's kind of on the upswing like Stony Creek and the Dragons are kind of rolling. When was their last real tough game?
Lake Orion's was
West Bloomfield. 4 overtimes.
Yep.
Right? Gave up a lot of points to the Lakers.
Stony Creek coming off a tough loss to Adams.
Right, so they're ready to go. They're the playoffs now. It's a whole nother season, as they say. I think it's going to be. I think the Dragons are going to win, but I think they're going to have to work at it. It's going to be let's say 10 points, and it's going to come down to the fourth quarter.
I like Lake Orion in this game. I'm going to say Lake Orion by 2 scores. Because when you look at this game, Stony Creek's got a huge mismatch problem with Drew Van Heck.
Yeah. He's playing like an animal.
Yep. They got a huge problem with Drew Van Heck. And I think, when you look at that matchup on paper, I think Lake Orion will have some issues with Cameron Buford and Zach Denna. But I think Lake Orion's a little bit more well-rounded than Stony Creek is.
Yes.
I think Gary Griffith's defense will keep them in this game. I just don't think the Stony Creek defense, so unfortunately, will handle Lake Orion offense. I think Lake Orion's offense is gonna score at will in this game. And I don't think they have an answer for Kobe Manzo in this game either. I really don't.
No. If the offensive line plays like it has been over the last 4 weeks, it's going to be a long day for Stony Creek because that offensive line has been poking holes.
But Stony Creek has also got a big line too.
They do. So it's how do they handle on the road? It's not that far away, so they're faithful, be in the stands. But like you said, at the place, Dragon Stadium's going to be rocking, and the Dragons are going to be poised. They want to go far. I mean, they are.
I know.
They want to go far. So
I'm going to take Lake Orion.
I say 10 points.
I'm going to take Lake Orion by 14. I think it's going to be a really interesting game. But you are right. Lake Orion has to be careful in this game. Stony Creek is they're
capable.
They're
very capable.
They're more than capable. I mean, so when you look at the for our final thoughts for today, you look at Division I, Division II. Do you see any upsets around the bracket?
I mean, not beyond what we were chatting about.
I'm going to take my upset special is I'm going to take Saline over Belleville. I think that's going to happen.
That's just a crazy matchup first round. So I could see that happening. I don't know if Belleville's the same as they were a year ago.
And then my upset special for Division II, I'm going to take I'm not high on Detroit Martin Luther King. I'm not real high on them. I mean, like, I have a feeling I think Detroit Martin Luther King's going down to Temperance Bedford. I think that's my upset in Division II.
Okay.
My other upset in Division II I'm going to take is Mona Shores. I think they're going to upset Midland this week. I think I know Midland's got a good quarterback, good receiver. But those are my upset traps of the week.
Okay.
Saline over Belleville. Also, I got Warren Mott upsetting Stevenson. I mean, that was a heck of a crazy game last week. And my Division II, I got Muskegon Mona Shores upsetting Midland. And, of course, I got Temperance Bedford upsetting Detroit Martin Luther King.
Cool, man.
So,
hey, before we get out of here, mind if we throw in some cross-country regional finals? I mean, we have teams moving on to the state finals.
Got Troy going on there.
Troy girls won the regional, 32 points.
Clarkson boys.
Royal Oak. Men.
Congratulations to Royal
Troy
Oak.
men.
Troy
are
men.
There. Yeah, and Royal Oak women. So what a day for the OA in the region. I think that was 10.
Yeah, and then
we're going over to Clarkston men. Dominated their regional, 52 points.
Also, Bloomfield Hills is going as well.
Bloomfield Hills, 76 on the women's side. And Clarkston women qualified by 7 points. Wow, good for them. Young team as well. From Region 9, Stony Creek women. Second place in that regional.
Behind Romeo.
And Rochester Adams. Stony Creek took down Adams by 1 point.
Man.
What do we go? Oxford, again, on the outside looking in, not making the finals by 3 points. And for the men on District 9, or Region 9, you have Stony Creek knocking off Romeo for the regional title by 3 points. Unbelievable. So...
And then, of course, soccer, you have Troy Athens in the state semifinal taking on, I believe, Ann Arbor Pine. I believe, Plymouth Salem are taking on, I believe, this week.
So congratulations to all the state meet qualifiers.
And also to Troy Athens soccer.
And in the soccer, absolutely, yep.
Okay, now, it's Sammy Toomey here. I'm going to sign off here. Take care, everybody. And see y'all next week.
See you next week, Sam. Oaa Now is produced by Sammy Tyrion. The views on this show are his and his alone. We'll see you next week on Oaa Now. If you'd like to make your own podcast, give ONTV a call, 248-393-1060. See you next week. See ya!